Welcome. This is going to be a full tutorial of how Journalist AI works. I want to go over every single one of these tabs, how they work in separate, but most importantly, how they work together. If you need more detailed info, please refer to the documentation where you'll find in-depth written and video guides on how every single feature works in a bit more detail. And so with that being said, let's just get straight into it. Before I do though, it's very important that I tell you that the app looks like this as of today, but if you're watching this a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, right, some things might be a tiny bit different. Just know that the idea and how things work will remain the same. And if at any point you have any questions, just click here on support and you can ask questions 24/7 and we'll help you out. Okay, now let's get started with the very first thing, which is your workspace. Now, what this is, which is quite straightforward, is you can segment your work into multiple workspaces. So let's say, for example, you have multiple clients, right? You create a workspace for each one of them. Let's say, for example, you have multiple personal projects. You create multiple workspaces for each one of your projects. So just go here, create a new workspace. I'm going to do, for example, my gardening, let's do gardening workspace, okay? Let's say, for example, I have a gardening website. I create it, and every single thing I do inside of this workspace will only be saved inside of it. So because it's a new workspace, of course, there's no history, there's no all articles, right? There's no customization, there's nothing, right? It's quite new. Now, let's go over the very first tab, which is the Generate Articles tab. Now, as of today, you can generate all these types of articles, right? There's a few coming soon, right? And we'll be adding more. So let's just get started with the SEO article. Let's generate an article optimized for search engines. So let's just click this, right? And we're prompted with two ways of doing things, right? We can do it manually or we can import it. Now, what this very first step is for the creation of your SEO article is keywords. So this is the very first input we are giving to the AI to create the article for us. Okay, there's a bunch more, but this is the very first thing. So let's say, for example, I have a gardening site. Just do gardening for beginners, and let's just do best tool for gardeners, and let's just do also as well best time to plant strawberries. Now, the titles are optional. You can write them if you'd like. If not, we will, based on your keyword input, write the title from it using AI. So let's just do add keywords, okay? Now, we haven't yet generated the article. We're just adding keywords. Now, you'll notice that we've jumped from the articles tab to the campaigns tab, right? We went from here, right, to here. Now, the reason why is because a campaign, in this case, a default campaign, was created based on the action we just did. And so this campaign, let's just call it a different name. We'll go here. Let's just do gardening campaign. So just we know, of course, what we're talking about, okay? And in this gardening campaign, right, we have all of these, which again, we'll go over every single one of them. And inside of the campaign, right, you can add SEO articles, you can add news articles, add YouTube to blog post articles, or add Amazon review articles. And you'll notice that the 3 articles we have right now inside of the campaign are SEO articles because we generated an SEO article, right? If we want to add, for example, a news article or a YouTube to blog post article to the campaign, which we're going to do right now, I'm just going to click here, right? Just add a video URL right here. Hopefully this works. Add video. Okay, let's just guess not. Let's just do this. Go on YouTube, copy the actual URL right here, right? Close this. Okay, add video. Now you'll notice that inside of the campaign, right, now a type YouTube, so type YouTube article was added. Okay, so again, we are not yet generating articles. We are just adding these types of articles, in this case, 3 SEO article types and 1 YouTube to blog post type inside of our campaign. Now, if we want to generate an article, we click here, of course, on generate article. But again, more on that later on. Now, you'll notice that in the future, we don't need to go here to articles and click on each one of these to generate. You can just go here to blog automation, select whichever campaign you want, hop in, and then add types of articles by clicking these ones here. Again, if you want, you can go here, of course, you can click this, right? You can add it here, right? Which will then be added to your default campaign by default. So anything you add here, add video, right? This will be automatically added to your default campaign as you see here. So anything, and if you try to generate articles via the generate articles tab, right, they will be automatically assigned to your default campaign, right? To the campaign that always is here by default in your account, okay? A small side note, of course, is if you go here to articles and go to generate articles, right? Anything you generate based on here will go to your default campaign. So if you want generated articles to not go to your default campaign, what you do is, of course, you'd go to your blog automation, and you create a new campaign, right? And then you'd go inside of that new campaign and then generate the articles inside the campaign. So if I generate articles from within this test campaign, all of these will be added here, right? If, on the other hand, I go here to this tab right here and it generate them through here, they will be automatically added to my default campaign. So hopefully this makes sense. So any articles you generate via the Generate Articles tab will be added to your default campaign, right? If you don't want them to be added here and you want to segment things by campaigns, you go inside of the campaign to generate inside of the campaign. So that's it. But again, we can go here now and configure all these settings right here. Again, if you'd like, we can add a news article right here as well. But again, we go over that later on. Now, here in the activity tab, you'll see when an article has been generated, published. Again, we'll go over all this when we actually have articles going out. Here's the Autoblog configuration, which we'll go over after. Again, Autoblogging is what allows you to have journalists automatically be generating and publishing articles to your site, also indexing all this stuff. Again, we'll go over that later on, right? Now, here in the article preferences, you'll notice that you have multiple tabs. One tab for each type of article, right? Amazon right here, YouTube right here, news right here, and SEO articles right here, right? And you can update their preferences here. If I click here on update preferences, right, I can have a lot of control of how the article output looks like. Because if I just go here and just click generate article, maybe the article is not going to be the best, right? I can just do here right now. I can just click generate article to show you what the output is, but we want to make sure that we optimize the article as much as we can. So if I go here again to blog automation, right, click my campaign, right, I can go here to settings, article preferences, excuse me, update the preferences. Maybe I want this to be written in British English, okay? So of course the target country will be the United Kingdom, okay, as such, right? Maybe I want a tone of voice that is funny, okay? Maybe I want a point of view to be the first person singular, okay? I can change the formality, right? So just know that these settings right here, once you save them, right, they will change how the generated article looks like, right? Because the one that I just generated, that's generating here in the history tab, should be here, right? It's still generating right here, right? It was generated based on the default settings, okay? Now, again, based on the default preferences, excuse me. So again, I can go here and change them according to what I want, right? I want to go over all of these tabs right now because it's very important that we understand what each one of these tabs does and every single thing in between. So in terms of content, it's quite simple, right? You can change the language. There's over 150 different languages, okay? You can target also any country. And why is this important? Well, because you can target the English language, right? But people in the UK speak English. People in Canada speak English, right? People in Australia speak English. And so it's very important that you choose the country because if you're writing an article about, for example, gardening, you want to target it to the UK, right? It's very different what it's going to be written if you target, for example, to Australia, because weather is different, right? The soils are different, right? I'm going to just give you an actual example so that you understand exactly what the importance of this is, because the context and the content of the article will be tailored to the country. So very, very important, okay? Now, again, tone of voice, this is, it's pretty straightforward, right? It's how the words are written, how the sentences are all built together. Funny tone, informal, academic, again, you can play around with this if you like, right? The point of view, pretty straightforward, how you want the article to be written in the first person plural, first person singular, second person, third person, again, you can play around with this. And of course, the formality levels, formal versus informal. Now, there's also advanced options right here. If I enable this right here, right, we can force feed keywords into our article. So let's say, for example, we actually wanted the article to mention gardening for noobs, right? I don't know, maybe there's a couple of keywords you want to actually force feed into the article, right? Some of our keywords, maybe some of our product name, if our product name is gardening kit 3000, right? We can make sure that we add it here so that our product name is actually mentioned, okay? So again, this will force feed these keywords into the article, right? Make sure, of course, these keywords are related to the article's topic and not contain typos, okay? So this is what you do here, right? Again, I'm giving you actual tangible examples so you understand how you use this in your own specific niche, right? Our niche here is gardening, okay? Now, context and description. So this is essentially, this is not mandatory, right? This is if you want to give an extra context to the AI. So for example, SpaceX is a company that produces rockets. So if you're writing an article about a product, about a company, right, maybe and ideally you want to give it as much context as possible. So a short overview of the topic of the article, right? This is the place to include any needed information. So any information you feel like you need to give to the article, right? Maybe that's something that's not really publicly available or something that you feel like needs to be extremely correct, you just add it here, okay? Making sure it's short and sweet, all right? Then we have some custom instructions. It's very important, right? Note that whatever it is that you add here, right, will not change the headers. It will only change the paragraphs. So if your article is a header right here, excuse me, if your article has a header right here, then a couple of paragraphs, right, and then a header right here, then a couple of paragraphs, right, anything you add to the custom instructions will change the content here and here. It will not change the headers. Okay, so let's just go back to this right here, right? Advanced options, right? So for example, I can say something along the lines of this content is geared towards being informative to beginners in the gardening space. Make sure you appeal to women over 40, right? You can add as many things as you want here, right? Just know that the more things you add, the more info you're giving to the ad. So make sure that it's not contradictory, okay? For example, you can say, this is a review article, right? This is a case study article, okay? So this again, we will write the article in a different way that it would have not written it if you didn't have this, right? So if you add this, okay, now it knows that the content, right, the text in it should be written in a case study format, right? So again, you can add any custom instructions here, not just about the format, but about anything, literally anything, right? That's why they're custom, anything, and they will affect the content, not the paragraphs, not the headers, just the paragraphs. Hopefully this makes sense so far. Then knowledge, well, this is where you can do two things. First thing you can connect this to the web. So if you enable this, we'll search Google for similar topics to generate up-to-date content. So it's important if you want to generate up-to-date content, it's very important, right? So usually you should just check this. Then Knowledgebase, very, very important. So what this is, essentially, is you can basically connect, right, Journalist AI with your website, right? With your, let's call it brand, right? With your brand, right? And your brand has multiple assets associated with it, right? Whether that's a YouTube channel, an actual website, of course, voice notes or audio notes, right? Text documents, PDFs, Word documents. So all of these are your brand's assets, right? And what you can do here is you can feed ROI with all these brand assets. So you can feed Journalist AI and give it as much context and input about your brand as possible so that Journalist AI is able to produce brand tailored content using your own brand's tone of voice, your brand's mannerisms, but most importantly, your brand's information so that the content is as accurate and correct as possible. Okay, so here, again, I don't have any knowledge base here. I have to create a knowledge base. Again, which we'll go over later on. I'll go over exactly how to create a knowledge base. So don't worry about it. You can skip ahead if you'd like, but I'll go over exactly how you can create one. I just wanted to understand why this is important, how it works, okay? Then formatting, pretty straightforward. You can enable, disable bolds, italics, tables, quotes, lists, right? You can change the title case for the errors. Again, pretty straightforward, nothing too fancy here. Structure, where this is where you can do a lot of things. So first you can add a call to action. Again, let me give you an example for this gardening niche in specific. Let's say, for example, again, I have a website. Okay, let's just go here to, this is my website, right? And I have, again, I sell gardening supplies. I have here gardening supply number 1. I have here gardening supply number 2, right? I have like a Shopify store where I sell all my products. I have a beautiful site with images, maybe a video, right? And I want to produce an article, right? And in the end, I wanted to have a custom call to action to my product, my category, my whole Shopify store. I want to have a specific call to action to my product. But I want to make sure that the call to action that's written here, it takes into account the context of the article as a whole. So if this article talks about the best time to plant strawberries, right, this call to action needs to make sense in accordance to the article as a whole. For example, hey, listen, I know you're wanting to learn the best time to plant strawberries, but you might need some tools. Check out this XYZ product for gardening. And this is exactly what this feature does right here in the structure tab, right? A call to action, you can add here your website URL, your context page URL. For example, if you're a plumber, a dentist, a plastic surgeon, if you add here your website's context page, right? We will add at the bottom of the article a call to action tailored to your brand, to the article as a whole, that links people to whatever it is that you're trying to promote. Again, whether that's a Shopify store's product page, a listing page, a category page, or just a contacts page. So very, very important. Test it out. Again, it is quite pointless to have an article or a site rank number one if the traffic doesn't convert. So in order to have as much traffic convert as possible, you have to have calls to action in your article. So very, very important. Now, here's a couple more sections you can enable and disable key takeaways. That's a section at the beginning of the article that talks about and basically gives the readers a brief of what the article is about, a conclusion and FAQs, and of course, select the article size, right? From small to very large. This will, of course, depend on the content you're trying to produce, right? Then we go over to internal linking. Now, this is very important, right? Because for SEO, it's important that you have both an internal linking and external linking strategy set up. So what internal linking is in your articles, there will be both internal, right, links and external links. So this greenhouse links to, so this domain is joederner.com, links to the same domain, but a different page. So this is an internal link. So linking from within your article to other pages on your site. These are all internal links. This is very important because it makes the user stay more time on your site. It's a very, very good, it's a good best practice in terms of SEO, right? So these are all internal links. Now this one is an external link, right? As you see here, right? The domain, joegardner.com, right? Is linking now to, for example, inaturalist.org. This is an external link, and it's good to have an healthy mix of both internal links and external links, okay? And this is exactly what this allows you to do. This allows you to set up internal links. So how do you actually work this? Well, first thing is, if you know your sitemap, just click here, add sitemap. If not, just go here to find sitemap, add your domain, which I'll do right now, right? Find. And this will find my site's sitemap. I can click here to test and preview. And what a sitemap is essentially a map, as it's in the name, of all the pages on my site. I have all my blog posts here. I have all my services pages. I have every single page on my site. My feature pages, my contacts page, my homepage, right? My terms of services page, every single thing is on here. And so if I hit save right now, on the articles that are produced, right, they're going to be sprinkled in internal links, right, in a way that makes sense. If the article I produce talks about AI, right, it can find a clever way to, okay, let me add this link right here to the article, linking out to this page about plumbers. But again, we're doing articles about gardening, so let's just do and go with the same theme. Let's just try here and add this site's URL right here. So just delete this again. Let's find sitemap. Let's find this website sitemap. Click find, right, and test and preview links. And now this will give me a list of all the pages on their site. Okay, there we go. So these are all the pages on the site. A lot of stuff, right? Now we could filter this. So if we only wanted pages from their podcast to be appearing, right, we could just go here and filter, right, by podcast, right? And this will make it so only, right, pages with the /podcast. So only these ones would be used for internal linking. We could do this, right? We could do just the blog ones, right? You can play around with this, right? Because for example, there might be pages where you don't necessarily, want to link to. Okay, so right now we'll just leave it as it is because the AI is smart enough to know which pages are relevant and which ones are not, right? Now you can choose how many links you want per H2. Just do here, right? The max, just for this video's sake, just why not? Now let's go here to external linking. Again, this is all set up. Go to external linking and the process is similar. Now, right now, while in the internal linking, we were linking to internal pages on our site, the external linking, we're linking, to external sources. For example, Wikipedia, Investopedia. For example, if you're writing articles about investing, we could link out to Investopedia, Bloomberg, TechCrunch, all these authoritative publications in your industry, in your niche. Now, again, this is a good or a best practice when you're doing SEO work, right? It is to link out to sources, fundament your claims, link out to authoritative publications that talk about the same subjects you're talking about. So now you can either automate it, right? Or you can do it manually, right? If you automate it, right, we'll scrape the internet automatically to find relevant articles in your niche and language and add them to your article as links, right? If not, you can just disable this and do it manually, and you can manually include all the links you want. Now, you can also exclude sources if you'd like. For example, if you want to exclude some of your competitors, you can add all your competitors here and exclude them, making sure that we do not link out to any of your competitors. Okay, so you can do this as well right here if you'd like to exclude any of your competitors. Now, if you only want to include specific sources, you can add here, these ones right here. And we will only use links from these websites, right? So you can leave it blank to include all sites, or you can add them right here to include these websites. Now, very important here, you should not be adding pages right here. You should not be doing, right, typejournalist.com/blog, right? No, just add the domain because we're looking for pages on the domain itself. Okay, so just add the domain itself. Now, note that the include links tab, right, will include the exact links. So if you do, for example, this right here, /blog, right, it will include this exact link, this exact URL, right? If you just do this, it will include just this exact URL. If you do this, right, XYZ, whatever, right, it will include this exact URL right here, okay? Now, on the other hand, right here, the include external sources, this talks about a source. So if I go here and just do this, right, it will include like any link from this domain, okay? Because this domain has the blog, it says the name of the blog, right? So if you're unsure of which pages you want to external link out to, right, just add the domain. So you can just do wikipedia.com, right? And of course, if your article is about gardening, you could just do this, right? And it will link to this, right? Or you could just leave it right here, right? And the AI will know to link to relevant pages inside the domain of wikipedia.com. So whether that's gardening or, for example, gardening tips, right? Because Wikipedia has multiple pages about gardening. So if you were just to do this, right, you'd be restricting the relevancy, the amount of external links we could include. So when you're unsure, right, just do this, right? And again, we will find every single relevant page we can link out to as an external link within this domain. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. Okay, again, right here, of course, you can exclude any competitors you want. Okay, so that's that. Now, in terms of images, right, you can enable and disable your featured image. I recommend you just enable it because articles look better with featured images. Okay, now in terms of image provider, you can use AI images, which we do recommend. AI has come a long way, and the AI images are very, very real. Even if you're using it for people or for food or for animals, they look extremely real right now, excuse me, and the models are improving every single day. Right? You can also use stock photos, okay? And you can use your own custom images, which we'll go over later on. But in essence, you can just upload a bunch of images into Journalist AI, right? Select a folder right here, and we will generate articles using the images you so choose. Now, you might be wondering, yeah, but how does the AI know which images to include where, right? Don't worry, right? Our AI, our models read the images, right? Whether you're just adding the image itself without any title, we can read through it all and make sure that the images are placed in the best place possible. So don't worry about it. Again, we'll go over custom images later on. Let's just go over AI images right now. You can select the number of images you want per article, right? 1 through 4, or no images if you don't want them. You can select the size, again, pretty straightforward, right? And you can select the styling. If you're using AI images, you can do photographic, you can do black and white, you can do Simpsons, right? You can play around with this. You can basically add any prompt, right? Just do realistic for now, okay? Anime, I mean, the possibilities are endless, really. Right, in terms of videos, right, this is very powerful. You can essentially have it so the articles have videos embedded in them that are relevant, right? If you just select this, right, we will automatically find and include relevant videos in your articles. You can do it manually if you'd like, so you can just add videos manually if you want from your own channels, or again, if you want our AI to find the best ones, we just enable this, right? Now, you can also add channels. So if you don't want to be selecting the videos one by one, just add a channel name and we'll go through all the videos in your channel. And again, automatically, because this is enabled, we'll choose through the videos on your channel that make the most sense. Again, you can add as many channels as you want. Now, we'll notice that when you disable this setting right here, right now it's talking about YouTube channels. If you disable this, it talks about videos. And again, this is on purpose because if you have this off, right, you do not want us to automate it. So again, you're gonna have to add them manually, right? If you have this setting on, right, you want us to automate it, okay? Now, you can filter it, right? That's why this is here. The setting right here, add channel, allows you to filter it. So in case you want us to automate the embedding of videos in your articles, and go out through the whole YouTube space, we can. But if you only want us to go to specific channels, you add them here. So this is essentially a filtering option. Okay. Now I won't add any URLs right here or any channel right here. I'll just leave it as is. And then finally, the auto translate tab. Essentially, what this does is it allows you to produce an article in multiple languages. So you can just do Portuguese, Spanish, French, right? And once an article is produced, right, and once you click generate, it will generate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this case copies in each language. Okay. Now I only want, let's just do Portuguese for now, right? As well. Actually, yeah, again, this is a secondary language. So the main language will still be this one by default, English, right? But any secondary languages you put here will also be, articles will also be generated. Now, again, this is free of charge for now, so don't worry, you can add as many as you want here and it will be free to generate. So just hit save right here, and we have completed the SEO article preferences configuration right here. Remember, we were just going over each one of these ones. Now, again, I will generate this article again, or this one, second one again, this one actually for the first time. And again, this will take into account, right, all the customization we added here in the article preferences. Okay, so all this right now has been saved, right? And we will take into account all this for the article generation. I think I did add some images. Let me just triple check here. I want to make sure. Okay, 4 images, AI ones. Okay, perfect. Right, now if I go here to the articles tab, actually no need, I can just go here to my activity tab. I see the first one that I generated a couple minutes ago has already been done, and this one with the new settings is currently generating. Just open this one right here for now, right? Gardening tips for beginners, click on view, right? And essential tips for gardening for beginners, your path to thriving a garden, right? Table of contents right here, right? Key takeaways, right? All the right here, but you'll notice that there is no, actually this is this is an external link, but there's no internal linking, right? There's only external links, and there is no video added as well, because again, this article is good, but it was generated, excuse me, right? If I go here to configuration, view preferences, it was not taking into account any customization, right? There was no, let's see here, there was no sitemap, there was no internal linking, there were only 2 images, right? Again, there were photographic images, there were no videos, right? You can see here, there were no secondary languages. And so this allows me to see the configuration I use for this specific article. Now, if I go here again to my campaigns and click activity, I click this one right here, which is still generating, which is fine. I click here on configuration, okay? View preferences. Now this one is in a funny tone. It already has, let's see here, there's actually no call to action. I should have added it, never mind. There's external linking. There's the sitemap for the internal linking, right? There's 4 AI images. There's YouTube videos enabled, right? Just as you saw me configure it before. So again, we can check the configuration so we know exactly how a certain article was generated. Now, if I generate this one now, right, again, it will be generated based on the preferences I put here, because this is an SEO article right here, okay? And of course, you'll notice that as I generate them, they will leave the input tab and end up in the activity tab. So these 2 right here, they were previously here, right? But as you generate them, they jump into the activity tab. Okay, just so you know, okay, which ones have been generated and which ones have not, right? Now, here's a couple, right, YouTube type articles. I want to go here to article preferences and go here to YouTube's blog post preferences, excuse me. Click here on update preferences. Now, this is way more simple, right? There's only 4 tabs for now. Again, when you're watching this, there might be some different things, but as of now, you can just choose the language, right? And you can choose and play around with custom instructions. Now, let's say, for example, let me just see what this video is about right here. Let's just open this up right here. And this video is, I think, a case study of how Journalist AI was able to increase a certain site's traffic to 12K a month, right? So what I'll do here, because this is a sort of a case study type of video, what I'll do here in the preferences, as I would type it here, this is a case study article. So again, you don't need to do this, like custom instructions are not mandatory, but again, the more context you give it and the more you can gear the AI towards the path you feel like you want it to follow, the better. So you just do this, for example, right? Again, choose the language. Formatting doesn't really matter here right now. You can just change the title case images, you can enable featured image. As of now, there's no in-article images for YouTube to blog posts. Again, in a month from now, 6 months from now, who knows? If people ask for it, we'll just add it. By the way, if you want us to add new features, just go here to support and request new features, right? You can choose the image size, and of course, you can also choose the auto translate, which I'll do it right here for now, and then hit save, right? And so after this, I can go click here, I can go to inputs, and I can just click here on generate article. Again, it will jump from here to the activity tab when it's done generating, okay? Now let's of course go here and see, right, how our second article came out, again, with all the instructions. You'll see here that there's 2 articles because of course we generated one in English and one in Portuguese. So this is the Portuguese version, this is the English version, okay? So of course we have the featured image right here. Again, this is all AI generated, table of contents, proper content instruction with tables, internal links, external links, just as we, of course, if you go here to configuration, as we previously had it set, right? Again, right here, external linking enabled, enable automatic external linking, and sitemap, of course, to include the internal links. Again, if I go here and see the article, again, English version. So again, all this and right here, in article image as well, 1, 2, 3, we should have 4, and of course, down here, the in article video that's relevant about whatever it is that the article is about. So this article is about gardening best tool for beginners. So a beginner, of course, needs to know how the beginner tips, which how to make it safe, right? And so this video right here is about garden safety. Again, all these videos are not randomly placed in here. If the video is here, it's because it's relevant, okay? Again, more internal links, external links, all this done automatically for you. Conclusion, FAQs, and of course your meta description, meta title. Now that is done, right? Now again, I can go here to blog automation, campaigns, garden campaign, and go here and see my activity tab. You'll see that now we have here the 3 articles right here. They jumped from the input to the output tab or the activity tab, and these 2 are SEO type articles. This one is the YouTube one. If we click it right here, right, there we go, right? This basically converted the YouTube video into an article. So in essence, it's, again, the configuration I gave it was to, in the custom instructions, which should show up here, right? This is a case study article in the custom instructions. So it's wrote it as a case study, right? There we go. Okay, I'm not going to read through it right now, but there we go. It is automatically done. And of course, with the video embed right here, as well as the table of contents. That's that. Again, going back here to blog automation, clicking here as well, you'll notice that we have 2 articles left because again, they're all went to here because they've already been generated. Now, following the same structure for news articles and add Amazon reviews is what we're going to do right now. Okay, so now news article again will generate it through here, but of course you can go here to articles and click news article. Again, I think it's just more streamlined if you just use your current campaign. Just keep things more organized. So go here to your campaign, add news article. Now, what this will do is it will produce a up-to-date factual news piece of content based on existing sources out there. Let me just clarify how this works. So for example, let's just do search query. Let's just do, for example, Donald Trump, not because I have any political affiliation. I mean, I'm not even from the US. It's just because there tends to be a lot of stories based on him. So there you go. Search for the story. Try to use broad topics, right? Or if you want to use more, if you're trying to find specific news about a certain person or topic, just use, for example, go a bit more in depth, okay? Now, Donald Trump, it pulled up all these news right here, right? I can add them. These are all very different, right? For example, if I wanted to be a bit more specific, I could just say Donald Trump presidency, right? It would just have pulled in news from his presidency, right? For example, if I do Elon Musk, Tesla, right, it will pull up news from Tesla related to Elon Musk. If I want to do, for example, Elon Musk X, it will pull up news from Elon Musk based on X, right? I can do SpaceX, right? You get the point, right? You can be specific or a bit more generic if you like, right? And so again, I had Donald Trump right here, and let's just pick a couple of news. Let's just this one. Let's just do 3 stories, right? 3 stories added, right? I can click here, add article. Now, what this will do is you'll notice that these 3 stories we just added, again, from the type news, were all added here. 1, 2, 3. Right now, before I click generate, of course, I want to go to the preferences and go to news preferences. Now, again, pretty straightforward. I can choose the language type, right? Because you can produce, for example, you can produce news in Portuguese or Spanish based on the English version of the original news. Okay, so for example, for markets where there's less news, right? You can just repurpose them in different languages. Okay. Formatting, again, you can change the title, headings, featured images, the size of the featured image, and again, the auto translate feature. Pretty straightforward. Again, if you're watching this video maybe a couple months from now, we might have added more features. Again, just let you know that this might change, but again, the flows remain the same, right? Just go here to inputs and then just generate article right here. This one is for Trump's hush money case sentencing. I'm not sure what this is about, but apparently it's a case he's involved in. Okay, and now the news article is generating. And essentially what this does is it takes all of these different news outlets that talk about this news in specific, we read through it all and we compile them into one big old relevant news with all of these facts right here and topics into one specific news article. Okay, so let's just wait for this to generate and I'll be back in a few seconds. Okay, there we go. That's the news, right? Table of contents, pretty straightforward. And of course, down here, there's the sources where this info right here was based on. So very important, right? If you're writing a news piece, you want to make sure to include the sources. And of course, we can click this to visit the original sources if we'd like. Okay, so I'll just close all this right here. Again, you get the point. These news pieces are written not just by making up some info, it's by going over to actually sources where this news was firstly written on. Okay, so there we go, pretty straightforward. That's how you generate news pieces with Journalist AI. Now, finally, Amazon review, right? I can click here. And what this is essentially is we can take an Amazon product and write a complete detailed review about it. So we could just go to Amazon right here real quick, Amazon.com. Let's just go and type in, for example, gardening, right? Let's find something to do with gardening. Just to dismiss this, let's do, for example, this right here. I guess let's just do this, this turtle. Why not, right? Let's do this turtle, right? We take the product URL as such, we paste it in here, right? We can add as many as we want, by the way, just do one, add product. There we go, will be added here. As again, you can see, right, the type is Amazon, and there we go. Now, of course, before we generate the article, we want to, of course, set up our article preferences. Just note, of course, that you don't have to do this every single time because preferences are saved, right? So this is all saved. So the preferences are basically per campaign. Okay, so if you have, say, for example, some SEO article preferences here that are more tailored, for gardening articles, whether that's because they include a more conversational tone, whether maybe that's because they're geared towards the Australian market, right? Doesn't matter, right? You can create different campaigns and the preferences will be applied per campaign, okay? Now, again, going back here to the preferences, Amazon, right? Again, you can change the language, tracking ID. So this essentially is basically if you want to add your affiliate link. So in the article that's written, there's always going to be links to the product. And if you have an affiliate link for a set product, you just add your tracking ID right here. And again, the link will be an affiliate, which will of course earn you a commission. Formatting, pretty straightforward again in the auto translate. There we go. Now, we go here to inputs again, and let's just do this and click generate article. And again, in a few seconds, the article for the Amazon product review will be generated, okay? Okay, there we go, it's ready. So as you see here, it is the same exact product. It took the image right here and set it as a featured image, right? There you go, table of contents, a link here to the actual product itself, right? It is not an affiliate link because we, of course, did not add our tracking. Key takeaways, more links right here. This is a link to the same product, right? And there we go. That's pretty straightforward. We converted this into an article that talks about it, right? And we, of course, can add our affiliate links right here. Now, as of now, you cannot add videos and images, but this will be enabled pretty soon, okay? There we go, pretty straightforward. Again, we go back here to campaign and blogs and move on with the tutorial. So now that we've, of course, went over how to create every single one of these article types, right? And also went over how the inputs tab works, the activity tab works, right? And all every single preferences for every single article, as well as the settings tab, I want to go over the Autoblog configuration. Now you'll notice that because this is our default campaign, so this campaign was here before we even started, right? The Autoblog isn't enabled by default. So what we can do is you can go here to campaigns and Autoblogs, right? New campaign, just do my new campaign, right? And we can enable Autoblog, okay? Now, we'll go over what this is in a second here. I just want to show you how you can enable it, right? Because there's all these modes after it. And again, I want to go over this later on. I just wanted to show you the reason why in your default campaign, if you go to Autoblog configuration, the last tab that we were missing here to go over, this isn't working. So to make it work, right, you need to go and create a new campaign, right? In this new campaign, you need to, of course, when you're creating it, enable this setting right here. Again, I won't go over this right now. I Just want to show you why that is. Right, so again, moving again from top to bottom, we went over this tab right here. The history tab is where you can see all of your articles that were generated as a whole, right, with the type of article that it is, Amazon, news, YouTube, to blog posts, and of course, SEO article, right? You can, of course, filter this by language, by campaign, right, by type, right? You can see the archived ones, right? There's a lot of pretty straightforward stuff you can do here. Again, if there's something you don't understand, just go here to support, to chat with us, and we'll help you out with it, okay? Now, when you click an article right here, right, there's a second, I guess, tab here where it shows you where you can download the article. So here you can download all your articles, right? You can do it in HTML form, Markdown, or Google Docs. Okay, so you can download them. You can see the cost of your articles, how many credits they costed, right? 2 right here. Okay, you can archive them. You can see the configurations, right? And then the publications tab. This is when an article is pushed out to your site, right? It will show up here. Again, we'll take a look at that later on, but just know that when articles are published to your site, right, whether that's WordPress, Webflow, Blogger, again, we'll go over all that later on, they will show up here, okay? So again, all articles tab is similar to the history tab, right? It just shows you all of them right here. And then we have the AI SEO editor, okay? Now, if we go here to the articles that we generated, I can open this up right here. I can click view. Let's just move over to the English one. I can click this little setting right here to open up this article. Now, this opened it up in the editor. I can see all this stuff, but if I want to edit it with AI, just click here, edit with AI. Now, this is our AI SEO editor, okay? And there's a lot of things that this allows you to do, right? I'm going to show you all of them right here. So if I can select this text right here, I can say, for example, let me add some external links, right? And the AI will read through the article as a whole, right? And find the best places as well as the anchor text, right? To add external relevant links to. There we go. I just added 3 relevant links in just a few seconds. Now, of course, yes, you can do all of this manually, but why would you? And you could just have AI do it in a few seconds, okay? You can do as well as to go here, for example, and just do add keywords. I want to add the keywords gardening booster 3000. It's the name of my product, right? And of course, it will add it in here in a clever way. So let's see here, giving your shovel a name like Dirt Destroyer or Earth Mover, or even, okay, there we go, Gardening Booster 3000, right? So it made, again, found a clever way to add my my keyword in there, okay? Now, I can also do more things. I can go here, for example, and I can select this again and say, I want to write this as a pirate, right? I don't know why you want to do this, but you can, right? And the AI will rewrite this as a pirate, right? R, right? Pirate-like talk. Again, I'm going to discard this because I don't want this, right? But again, you can say anything you want, right? Write this more tailored to beginners, right? Write this for women. I don't know. I mean, write this, write it more comprehensively, cohesively, right? You can add adjectives, right, and change the way it's written, and make it funnier, right? Rhyme every word with orange, right? You can play around with this. You can do a lot of stuff with this. It can be funnier, actually good for your work. So you can add essentially custom prompting to change paragraphs or anything on the article you want. Okay, so you can also, there's default prompts here. You can simplify it, you can rewrite, you can make it longer, right? Let's say, for example, I want this to be a bit longer because I want more context. Boom, there you go, make it longer, right? I can make it short. I can make a list, so I can take this info and I think, oh, this is a bit too big of a wall of text. I want to convert this into bullets so that my users can understand it more easily. I can do that as well. I can convert infos to tables, right? I can basically have full creative freedom on how I want to edit this. Now, on top of that, I can also edit images with AI, right? I go here, right, and just say, for example, put this underwater, right? It's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do because they take into account, the prompting right here takes into account the article as a whole, as well as the image itself. So it will take the same images from gardens and put them underwater right here. This is maybe not the best example, just to, for example, discard this. Let's just do add a dog, right? And we'll add a dog again to the article, trying to keep the same elements of the image there. Okay, so if you just wait a few seconds here, it should add a dog here. There we go, right? Add a dog. There's this item right here, which I forget the name. So there we go. The process is simple, right? It's similar to add a worm, right? Let's see what it does right here. Again, you can play around with this. You can change the images if you like them. You can do this unlimited times to change the images and prompt them using it. There we go. So it's more or less the same garden, same flowers, but then now there's a worm there, and of course there's still the gloves. So again, you can play around with this. You can do the same thing as well for the featured image down here. Okay. Now again, this allows you to do a lot of stuff right here. Now, on the right-hand tab, right, we have the SEO score, which I won't go over now because it's still in beta, right? Don't worry, if you need more in-depth tutorials, just know that you can go to the docs page and find in-depth tutorials about any single thing. So don't worry about it right here, right now. And if this doesn't show up in your account, don't worry, this is still in beta, only for some people. That's available right now. Okay, now, we got the focus keyword right here. We got the title, got the meta description. We got the featured image, pretty straightforward, right? Now we can select integration, which is what we'll go over after, which is basically we can take this article and click publish, and will be automatically published and sent to our integration. Okay, integrations are basically your CMS, your WordPress, your Webflow, your Blogger, right? Which is pretty straightforward. So let's just go here and move on to the customization tab, right? Where actually before the actual integrations, I want to go over this. Remember, I talked about Knowledgebase, right? Where you could add it to your article. So when you were generating your article right here, right? When you were going over the settings, the preferences, right? We could go here and in the advanced options, right? Actually, no, here, we could add a Knowledgebase, okay? So right now, here's how you create a Knowledgebase. Go here, Knowledgebase, new Knowledgebase, right? My gardening Knowledgebase, right? I won't make it default, right? And create Knowledgebase, okay? Now, here is how I can upload assets into my Knowledgebase. I go here to add assets, and I can add plain text, PDF documents, your website, YouTube channel, and in the future, a lot more stuff is going to be added here, so you can make these Knowledgebases as powerful as possible. Okay, so your goal here is to add as much context and assets, right, to your Knowledgebase as possible. Just add my website right here, for example. Boom, there you go. Add asset, my site, right? Add asset right here. So now our Knowledgebase has a site associated with it type. We can add, for example, our YouTube channel. So let's go here, copy, right? There you go. It's gonna add my YouTube channel right here. So it's gonna have the context of the channel, right? My YouTube channel. And the articles it's gonna write, if we choose and enable the writing based on a Knowledgebase, it's going to take into account the whole YouTube channel as a whole, every single video I posted, every single description, every single title. So it's able to produce content that's not just some random type of content. It's based on every single thing and info me as a human put out there into the world. Hopefully this is making sense, because the goal of Knowledgebase is to be able to produce the best type of content possible. And the best type of content possible is produced when you have as much input, in this case knowledge, as possible. Again, we can add as many assets as we want. Plain text, we can just add a big wall of text right here about my brand is called XYZ. We've been in business since 1900. We serve XYZ type of customers, right? You can add as many things about your brand. You can even add stuff related to your niche. If you're in the medical niche, some nuanced topic, you can add them here. Papers, scientific papers, again, anything you want that you feel like could make the content output the best as possible, as long as, of course, with PDF documents and that. So again, your goal is to add as many assets as you possibly can to make sure that you give the AI as much context as possible, okay? Now, moving on to custom images. So again, we talked about this before, but we did not went over it. Now, this works quite simply. You can upload images into Journals AI. Let's just do here, new folder. Let's just do grass, okay? And then let's just do another folder for client A, right? And then a new folder for client B, okay? There we go, right, okay? And then let's do another folder for dogs, okay? Why not? Now you can categorize different images in different folders. So if I go here to dogs, right, now I can upload images here, right? I can do it either a link or just from my browser, from my desktop, okay? Pretty straightforward. I can rename the folder, I can delete the folders, right? And so once you have all your image categorized here, again, when you're generating an article, so from here, for example, right? Actually, from here, for example, in the blog automation, when I go here to my campaign, when I go to the preferences, this is, for example, here in the images tab, I can, if I choose custom images, I can select which folder I want. So if this is an article for client A niche, I just do this, right? There we go, pretty straightforward. Again, we allow you to use your own custom images. And because of that, we wanted to make sure that you were able to categorize the images into multiple folders, okay? There we go. So moving on to blog automation. Now, again, we know the first tab is about the campaigns, right? We can create new campaigns, right? Second tab is about integrations. Now, here is where you can connect Journals AI with any of these CMS. whether that's Blogger, Ghost, Shopify, Squarespace, Webflow, Wix, Wordpress, Zapier, WordPress.com, a WordPress plugin, webhook, or API. If you need a new integrations, click here and we'll hook you up with custom integrations if you'd like. Now, this is pretty straightforward. Each one of these ones will depend on how, and it differs how it can be able to, it allows you to connect, So if I just use Webflow, for example, it will ask me for all this stuff, right? If I choose, for example, Ghost, it will ask me for different stuff. If I choose WordPress, it will ask me for this stuff, okay? Again, there's guides and tutorials for every single one of these, right? So don't worry, I won't go over these ones right now, but there's guides. If you go here to the docs, right, there's guides with video going over exactly step by step how to connect each one of these if you have any questions. Again, we try to make it as simple as possible by breaking down every single thing you need. For example, here in Webflow, we break it down step by step. But again, if there's something you don't understand, just go here to the docs and you'll have step-by-step tutorials on how to do how to connect each one of these ones step by step. Again, pretty straightforward. Again, if you have any questions, let me know, but this should be pretty straightforward. Now, once, of course, an integration is set up, right, when I go here to the articles that I've generated right here, for example, history, right, as you saw before, I can click it and I can click view, right? And if I want, open this up right here. And I can just select my integration. Right now, of course, I have no integration created, but I could select my WordPress site and I could just click publish. And this would take this article and send it to my WordPress site, Webflow, whichever my integration is. Now, I said send it. I didn't say publish. I said send it because you can send the article in draft form. So now what I'll do right now is I want to connect my WordPress site so I can actually show you articles going to it. So create integration again. Don't worry, there's videos for every single one of these. There's documents going over in detail how to connect these step by step. So again, if you have any questions, just go to the docs. Don't worry, it's going to be there super simple. So I'll just do a time lapse here of me super fast connecting my WordPress site. I'll be back in just a few seconds. So there we go. I just created my integration. So if I go here to integrations again, it will show up right here. Now inside of it, again, there's going to be a couple of settings. This will depend on which type of integration you created. Okay. But this is all now connected and tested and it's now working. Again, I can select the author I want it to be published with. I can select the status of the article to be published, as I said before, or scheduled or draft or pending. Again, this will depend on the type of CMS you're using and a bunch more stuff like PostGap and a lot of other stuff. This will be more relevant when you have an Autoblog running because you might want to have an Autoblog running. So a blog, so you generally say connected with your website and it's generating plus it's publishing articles to your site every day, but you want to have maybe a gap between each post about 4 hours or again, no gap or 2 days or whichever gap you want. Okay, so I'll just leave this when we talk about the Autoblog section. So for now, that's basically it. There's a couple of settings right here, which again, you can learn in detail about when seeing the actual guide and watching the, going over the documentation pages, that go over all these ones in a bit more detail. But again, hopefully this tutorial just gives you an overhead view on how all these things work. Okay, so now I can go here to settings. Right now I can change my integration name. I can move integrations from space to space. So from these space to space. So that's that. And I can delete it. Pretty straightforward. Now, again, if I go here to articles, right, and go here to my history tab, right, I can click an article right here. Let's do, for example, let's do this right here, for example, the third one actually, click view again. Now this shows up because now I have an integration. So my WordPress integration. If I click post integration, right, this post will be automatically sent to my site, right? It's taking a bit to load, but it will be showing up, right? Go here, your article has been published, go to publication. I go here, go to publication, right? And it will show me in the publications tab right here, right? So status, published, integration, the name of my integration, right? Article, this is the article name. I actually published the Portuguese version, no Autoblog, and the URL right here. So if I open this up, right, my article has just been pushed to my site. As you see here, all this done and published to my site with the links, the videos, all this done in just a few seconds. Okay. Now I can also share this to social media, which is something I'll go over later on. And of course, note that, right, your publications, all of them will appear in the publications tab, right, line by line. But if you want to see the publications specifically by campaign, you just go here to campaigns and see the publications in the campaign itself. Okay. Now moving on to feeds. Well, what this is essentially a flow to create output. So what do I mean by this? When you create a new feed, let's just do this right here, create a feed, right? You can create multiple feeds, a keyword feed, a news feed, an RSS feed, or a YouTube channel feed. And coming soon, custom data feed. And again, if you need any other extra feeds, just request one right here. Now, a content feed, as it says in the name, is something, right, something, a feed of content you can feed into Journalist AI to then generate content either manually or automatically. Let's go over how it works. So first things first, let's just do a keyword feed. So we can click this, right? And we can add our site URL right here. Let's just do, and this is our site URL. And let's just use the same example. So my gardening site, right? And URL, let's just use this one. This is a website about gardening. Again, all they talk about is gardening. They, of course, then have a Shopify store associated with it where they sell like gardening supplies, right? Again, just gonna copy this URL, paste it in here. And now, your seed keywords should be your main keywords, okay? So essentially, think about it as the word or words that describes what your business does. So in this case, for example, gardening supplies, okay, enter gardening tips, okay? For example, if you were to, for example, add here a plumber, you do plumber or plumbing or plumber and then city, right? Of course, you like New York City, okay? So plumber location. Again, these seed keywords, right, will be your main keywords. So your main keywords through where all your other keywords will stem from. So if this keyword is plumber, right, in Dallas, for example, this will be, for example, 24-hour plumber in Dallas or plumbing services. So all these will stem from what you write here. So again, your seed keywords are very important. So let me just do this again. My gardening site. You can just copy this URL right here, paste it in here. So again, just know that these will be your main keywords. Okay, so let's just do again, gardening tips, gardening supplies. And we can also do, for example, raised garden bed, which is one of their products. Okay, so you can add multiple things here. Again, don't add too many or don't add too little either. Just add 2 or 3. Again, these are your main keywords. Okay, now competitors. Well, this is good because the more competitors you add, the easier will be for us to find relevant keywords. Because again, the keywords this keyword feed will find you and will give you are based on 4 things, actually 5. Your site, so keywords your site ranks for, and the keywords we see Google find your site relevant for, your seed keywords, okay, your competitors, and so the keywords your competitors rank for, because again, if you have a competitor site, right, a competitor by definition is someone that's competing in the same market as you. Thus, they rank for the same or similar keywords as you, okay? So we also take the keywords from your competitors. And of course, the country and the language, okay? So very important that you add your competitors here. I won't do it right now because I'm not too sure, but again, you should be adding them for best results. Add 2 or 3 other competitors here, okay? Now just go ahead and create feed. Now, what this will do, right, is it will give us in a few seconds here a list of keywords. So it's right now it's gathering keywords for us, again, based on all the things that I said before, right? And so let me just be back here in a second once this is done loading. Okay, there we go. Just took a couple of seconds. And now here, right, you'll see all the keywords that we found that your site is relevant for based on your competition, your language, and the seed keywords you entered. So right here, as you see, let me just zoom in right here. So plant nursery, epic gardening. So this is their brand name, as you see here. It's their brand name, so of course it's a relevant keyword. Greenhouse, so this is a product keyword right here, product keyword. And by the way, when you're seeing this video, like a couple months from now, we're going to be basically giving you details on what types of keywords these are. So this is a brand type of keyword, right? This is a product type keyword, right? This is, for example, an informational type keyword. So I forgot what it is right now. Again, branded one. So don't worry about it. This will look a bit more beefed up once probably you're looking at this a couple months from now. But again, it gives us all these keywords. Again, none of this is random. These are all relevant to what your niche is about. And so going here back to feeds again, right? Again, you can create new feeds if you like. Now, what you can do with feeds is, like I said before, a feed is something that you feed into, this is the feed, into Journalist AI, right? And it gives you the output, being in this case articles, okay? So what you do with feeds, once you have it all set up, right, you can either go here and select all your keywords, right? And you can remove the ones that you find that are not really that relevant. For example, maybe this isn't really relevant, just remove it, okay? There you go, that's removed. And you can also see, by the way, the volume and the difficulty here as well. And then what you can do is you go here to campaigns and Autoblogs, create a new campaign. Let's just do, for example, epic gardening campaign, right? And now you enable Autoblog. And again, don't worry. I know I just went over one type of feed. I want to go over all of them, but this is important because this is a way I'm going to show you how the feeds work. So you just enable, right? Enable Autoblog, right? Automatically generate and or publish content on a schedule. You should disable this if you want to do it manually. Because we do not want to do it manually, because we want to automate it based on a feed, we do this. So enable this. Now there's 3 things you can do. You can use the fully automation mode, the planned automation mode, and the automation with review. Now I want to go over every single one of these as well, right? But first I'm just going to choose this one for now, just to show you how feeds work. So click continue right here. Now I can choose a feed, my gardening site. I can choose an integration, my Wordpress site in this case, and then I can tell it to post every day, for example. Let's just don't randomize the time. I want to post 5 articles each time. So maybe I should just do this every week. So 5 articles every week, okay? Now if I hit create, this is based on my initial feed, my keyword feed, okay? And so now I'm building an Autoblog, right, on full mode, okay? So going back here again, okay, and I'll go over here again, you can, when you're creating a campaign, enable Autoblog and leverage either the full auto mode, the planned auto mode, and the automation review. And all of these modes, all these 3 modes, are based off of feeds. Because again, when you have this disabled, right, is if you want to do things manually. When you have this enabled, right, is when you want to do things automatically. Depending on the level of automation, doesn't matter, it's still automatic, right? But these are all based off of feeds, okay? Automation are based off of feeds. And you can create multiple feeds, a news feed, an RSS feed, a YouTube channel feed. So for example, right, on this one, excuse me, on the YouTube feed, you can have it so as when a video is posted to a channel, right, you have like all these lists of videos, right, a blog post is produced and it's posted to your site. Now again, you can choose, right, which level of automation you want to have it in, right? Full auto mode, which is goes from the feed to the generation to the publishing, and like you don't have to touch a single thing. The planned automation mode, which basically is the only one that doesn't really stem from a feed, right? And then the automation review, which goes from feed to generation, and then you can either approve or decline. So while in this one, right, it's the whole 9 yards, from feed to generation to publishing to your site. This one, not really. The last step is, okay, yes, it went from the feed to the generation, but we'll leave you to do the publishing have a bit of extra control. Now again, for the planned automation mode, it goes from generation to publishing. Again, let's go over all these one by one. But before, let me go back to the feeds again. And if you understood correctly how the keyword feed works, right, it gives you feeds based off of inputs, right? These are the same, right? Let's just do, for example, a YouTube channel feed. So let's just call this Epic Gardening YouTube. And if we go to YouTube and just gather their channel URL real quick here, like so, we just paste it in here, create feed. Now again, this feed is going to be based off of this YouTube channel, right? So let me just wait a few seconds here, right? And wait for it to pull up the, as you can see, videos of this channel. And again, then I can go here to campaigns and Autoblogs. I can create a new campaign, or I can just, let's just do, for example, this right now. And then I can have a full automation mode or a automation review again, based off of my YouTube feed. Okay, and then I can choose the integration I want to post it to, the interval, the randomize, the article per batch. I can do all this. Again, Autoblogs right here are based off of feeds, okay? Except, of course, this right here, the planned automation mode, where you just choose the inputs manually, right? So if you do this right here, right, it doesn't let you choose a feed. While, of course, these other two, this one and this one, when you click continue, it lets you choose a feed. Okay, hopefully this is making sense so far. So again, going back here to feeds, clicking the YouTube feed, let's just wait a few seconds for this to give us the, oh, there you go, didn't even have to wait. So these are all videos from the channel, right? There's pages and pages of results, right? I can click here to next, I can click here, go back, I can click here to view the video right here. This video was just posted, let's see, 7 months ago, right? This one was posted. I mean, we have the time, we have every single thing, okay? We have all the things right here that we need to have. And so then again, I can remove views that I think are not really that relevant, right? I can change the channel, I can do a lot of things here. And then again, I can go here to campaigns and Autoblogs. Let's just say, do here, for example, this campaign name would be YouTube channel to blog post, gardening, okay, gardening. Enable this, and let's say I want to, for example, do an automation with review. Click continue, choose my YouTube, right? Choose I want to post it every 6 hours. Let's just do 10, click create, okay? Now what this means is, again, it's automation with review, while the other one will just grab the info from the feed, okay? Grab the info from the feed, generate it, and publish it This one will not do this step. I have to manually go out and publish, okay? But again, we'll go over all these in just a second here. I wanna go back to feeds right now. Other types of feeds you can create are news feeds. Again, the process is similar, like just search for your queries, just to, for example, Elon Musk to preview stories, and it will give you a list of stories. Just like, again, we went over this when we were creating the articles right here. So it's the exact same process. Okay, I won't go over this right now because I mean, I'm sure you understand how it works right now. Again, the other type of feed is the RSS feed. Now I'll play here a clip on how this can be used, actual use cases, because this is for very specific use cases. Also, I'll play here a clip on how this could work and its use cases. So play that clip. In essence, what it allows you to do is to repurpose things online. Whether that's just a simple tweet or a full-on blog post, right? You can take it and repurpose it. Here's what I mean. For example, let's go here over this Twitter account. This is Fabrizio. He posts about anything and everything about football news, right? What we can do is we can take a simple tweet like this, right? And convert it into a blog post, right? This blog post was generated based off of this tweet. Simple tweet, one-liner, one image, Kylian Mbappe returns and starts for Real Madrid against Porto tonight. We took this and we converted it into a blog post. Same thing for BBC News. Like we select a news here. Let's say, for example, this blog post, right? Tuition fees. How much does university cost in the UK? We took this, right, and repurposed it into this. Okay. So in essence, you can repurpose any single thing that has an RSS feed, because it's through the RSS feed we do this. So the feature here is go to feeds, create new feed, connect an RSS feed. So any site that has an RSS feed you can connect to, whether again that's a site with actual long form blog posts or a social media platform with short form tweets, right? Anything, you can convert it and you can take the RSS feed and convert it using Journalist AI. So here's what I mean. For example, here the BBC News feed, right? We took it, right? And you just add the URL, right? It's pretty straightforward. Add the feed URL, match the title with the title field, match the URL with the link field. It pulls up all the news, right, on the site. So these are all the news posted on the site. Okay, pretty straightforward. Then what you do is you go here to articles, click generate article, select the feed, right? Select the one which we just created right now, BBC News, right? And then select how many articles you want to produce. Then just click generate, right? And again, you can convert this stuff, right, into this. Same thing for Twitter, right? Go here to feeds, right? This is the one from Twitter, right? It pulls in, we just add the Twitter feed URL, right? Then it pulls in all the tweets this account is making. These are all football-based tweets. As you see here, we can open up this one, for example, right? These are all tweets from this account, right? This one, small tweet, right? And we can take this again, go here to articles, select the feed you want, which is Fabrizio, which is this Twitter account's name, right? Then click how many articles you want to generate, click generate, and there you go. You can convert simple tweets like these, any tweets, right? You can convert them into blog posts. You can post to your site. So let's, for example, you have a sports betting website, right? You can simply just take what Fabrizio, this account, is publishing and then convert the info on here, right, into a full-on blog post that you can post on a news section on your site. You can repurpose content from other sources. The possibilities are endless. As long as you can grab the RSS feed from any site, right, you can do a lot of things here. There you go. This is how this can be used. Again, now this is in feed form because you can feed the feed to the Autoblog if you'd like. And finally, right here, that's basically that. That's it. And if you need any other feeds, just request a feed here, and we'll have a custom data feed coming soon. Because now you know what feeds are, and you also know how to use them, how to connect them. You connect them with Autoblogs. Okay, so when you're creating a campaign, right, you enable Autoblog. You can have a feed on here and here. So full automation mode is you have a full Autoblog running. Okay, so it takes info from a feed, it generates the articles, and it publishes them to your site. With the automation with review is the exact same thing, but instead of publishing it to your site, well, there's an intermediate step where you need to click approve, so it's published to your site. And finally, with the plain automation mode, it does not stem from a feed, right? But you can choose the inputs manually, and then we'll handle the rest. Excuse me. We do automatic generation and publishing, so you don't need to click generate and you don't need to click publish. We'll handle both of those for you. Well, again, for example, with the classic campaign, right, you need to go here and you need to do generate, right, and then you need to do publish. Okay. With again this one right here, you don't need to do that. Okay. Now, if you want tutorials on each one of these ones in specific, check the documentation page where there's tutorials on these ones, step by step on how to set them up and how to go about using each one. Okay, so there we go. That's that for now. But again, just to clarify, in essence, what you need to know is that for these 3 Autoblog modes, this one, again, it does everything for you. It takes info from the feed you created, okay? So you just have to create the feed, right? It takes info from the feed, right? It generates articles based on that feed, whether that's a keyword feed, a YouTube feed, or RSS feed, a news feed, it doesn't matter, okay? And then it publishes it to your site automatically, okay? It goes to your site. Now, you know by now that when it goes to your site, right, it can go in draft form, right? But it doesn't matter. It still goes to your site. It's still published, okay? The automation we review, again, still stems from a feed, keyword feed, YouTube feed, news feed, RSS feed, doesn't really matter, right? It generates the content from that feed, again, similar to, again, exactly the same as the full automation mode, right? But then you have to go into your campaign and click publish, okay? One by one, right? You have to click publish manually, okay? Because you might want to change stuff, you might want to add stuff, doesn't really matter the reason why, but that's just how it is. And then we have the plain automation mode, which again doesn't stem from a feed, right? It's the classic where it just basically you give it your manual input, right? And then based on your manual input, it just automatically generates and publishes it, okay? The manual input being, as I said before, right? Going here and clicking any of these right here. This is your manual input, right? Which will then go here, and then the Autoblog will magically take them and generate the articles and publish them. So you don't have to click here, okay? And then you don't have to. You do not have to go and click publish. Okay, so hopefully it's making sense so far. Again, if you need more detailed tutorials on how these work, these ones right here work, just go to the documentation. Click more, click help docs. There's going to be 3 individual tutorials going over each one of these Autoblog modes. But hopefully so far this is enough to get you going. Again, more info, just go to the docs. Oh, and one more thing, don't worry, because every single feed, right, is updated. So we pull new videos from the channel every 6 hours. Okay, so this one right now only has 50 results, and this one right now only has 15 keywords, okay? But again, every couple hours, the feed will be given new info. This one, the news feed that I created off screen, right now only has 7 news. But again, every 24 hours, new info will be fresh feed into the feed. So when you have an Autoblog running as such, right, again, if the feed runs out, the Autoblog won't stop because the feed never runs out, okay? There's always new info pouring into the feed. So again, if you associate a feed to your Autoblog and then you go here and see that your feed, oh, but my feed only has 15 results. What happens when it goes through all these? Don't worry, because again, it will every 48 hours add new info here. So the feed isn't a static thing. The feed is something that's living, and every couple hours adds a couple new info to it. So again, the Autoblog, if you have it set to full automation mode, will never stop, okay? Never, because again, the feed doesn't run out. We're always adding new info and gathering new info for the feed. So just want to throw that in there because it's very, very important. Now moving on to social media syndication. Well, it's quite straightforward what this does. In essence, it allows you to, essentially, you're connecting Journalist AI with your website, right? Actually, let's just do this. This is your website, right? Journalist AI is generating, it's publishing your articles. It's also indexing them, which we haven't went over yet, but you can set up an auto indexer so it sends your articles directly to Google, right? It's publishing all these articles to your site. And then via the social media syndication, you can take these articles, right, and post them to Facebook and Twitter right now. We'll add LinkedIn eventually, so you can do also LinkedIn in the future, right? And we'll create these dedicated social posts with a caption, right, an image, and of course a link to the actual article. So you're syndicating all the posts on your site to your social media platforms. So in essence, Journalist AI does all this for you on autopilot. And again, it's quite straightforward. Click new social media to connect it. You can choose Facebook and Twitter for now. It's quite straightforward to connect it, and then you can, of course, set up your integration. So again, every time an article is published to my WordPress integration, right, I will create a post every single, whichever frequency you want. So again, it's pretty straightforward. Again, any questions, just check the help docs, but this is pretty straightforward. It essentially is a syndication of the articles to your social media platforms. And here in the shares, you can see where the links, basically where the posts were shared to. So essentially what's going to happen here is going to show you that, oh, this post right here was posted to this Facebook page, and here's a link to check it out. Okay, it's pretty straightforward, nothing too fancy here. Now I mentioned indexers as well, because if you go here to indexers, what you can do is you can click new indexer, right? And you can connect your Google Search Console. And what this does then is once an article is pushed to your site, right, it will be automatically submitted to Google Search Console for fast indexing, right? Because again, an article or a page that is not indexed in Google, well, it's not going to be seen by anyone. So this auto indexing feature allows you to automatically index your articles in Google. Again, if you want more detailed version of this, again, this is pretty straightforward. That's why I'm not going over exactly step by step how to do it. But if you want a step-by-step tutorial, again, just go here to help box, and there's going to be a video there going over how this works. But again, super straightforward, right? Now, moving on to magnets. Now, this is a pretty cool feature. You can create magnets, right? And I'll go over what these are. I'm going to play a clip here of me going over this feature with actual tangible examples to show you exactly what the possibilities of this feature are, so you can get a sense and get maybe some ideas of what you can do with it. So play the clip right now. Lead magnets. And I want to show you first how they work in action. So look at this blog post about should you buy a Tesla as your first car? This amazing blog post. All these are done with AI, by the way. This is all content generated through Journalist AI. Even has a video here. But if you keep on scrolling down, there's this little widget down here that says, should I finance a car? With the input, the car I own costs, let's say, the car I want costs 160K, I have 80K in savings, and I get 2K per month in income. I click here, should I finance my car? And this widget will give me a suggestion based on my input. Now, you can imagine the possibilities of this. You can make these little widgets to interact with your audience. Now, on top of that, you can collect emails. So if I enable this right here, collect emails, and we'll go over exactly how to structure all this. Let's say here, get more tips on financing buys here, right? Click Save Changes, refresh the page right here. Let's just do again the same prompt, should I finance this car? And then it will give me the response, right? As well as an email opt-in to capture the client's email. So just do vasco123@thrivejournalist.com, click sign up, right? This email is going to be sent through your Journalist AI dashboard in the lead. If I refresh this right here, the email from the client shows up here in the leads. Now, you can literally create magnets for any niche you want. I did one for car financing because I had this article about that. And not only can you capture people's emails and nurture them and send you their offers, right? You can also make your blog posts engaging. Now, this is the very first iteration. You're going to be able to create magnets that are actual calculators that do actual valuable, advanced stuff. Right now, they're somewhat simple. They're still very valuable, right? But they're somewhat simple in what they can do. Imagine if you could create like a whole tool and embed it in a blog post in your site. You'll be able to do that real soon here. So this is the very first iteration, okay? So I wanna go over exactly how to create one. So you're here to lead magnets, click create magnet, okay? Now let's say, for example, we wanna create a magnet for stock investing. So let's do stocks, okay? And the prompt here is what you want the AI to do with the user's prompt. So let's say, for example, take the input of the user and advise them as to if this stock is a good, bad, or decent investment opportunity. Okay, let's go, advise that. Right, the input plus output, let's just do this, Tesla, Apple, Google. Okay, let's see if it's a good investment. Right, you can turn on this. There you go, collect emails, sure. Actually, let's not collect emails for now, and click create. Now, what we do simply is we go here to the embed, right, copy the code, go here to my site again. I'm gonna go and edit this page to replace the embed code I added here. So let's just do for more details. There we go. This is the code. I just paste it in here as such, a little tiny bit of code. Click update, then go back to the post as such, hit refresh. Now, of course, this widget won't make much sense according to the article, right? But now again, let's say here, let's do Tesla, right? And of course, you have to give context before you put in the widget here, but there you go. Then again, don't mind this little thing right here. It's just a typo, right? It gives you the output based on the input. So when considering Tesla as an opportunity investment, it is important to evaluate both the company's potential and the current market conditions, whatever, website. And then you can put a call to action for them to, hey, listen, opt into our newsletter here for more tips on stock investing. Because again, you can capture the leads. And so again, the possibilities here are endless. We're going to be biffing up up this with a bunch more features. But as of now, again, you can embed these in your blog posts, in your pages, and collect emails as well. Of course, give some actual value to the people reading your blog posts. So instead of just them being bland, right? Because as of now, right, the ideal blog post, as you know, has images, bullets, quotes, tables, in-article videos as well, right? Internal links, external links, and these widgets are just another way to engage more and create a unique piece of content for your audience, right? So these are also quite a bit shareable, so people love these sorts of tools. There you go. Pretty straightforward. Again, any questions you have, just go here to the help docs and there's going to be more detailed info on this. And again, this is a feature that we're going to be putting a lot of work into it. So if this looks a bit outdated now, there's a bunch more new features here. That's a good thing. So don't worry. Again, the flow should be exactly the same. And finally, this is not really a feature, but this is a way in which you can purchase backlinks. If you don't know, link building is one of the three main pillars of SEO. We have on-page SEO, off-page SEO, which is of course link building, and then technical SEO. And this shows you why to build links, the results the links can get you, and how you can get them. Right? There's a couple of results here from clients, that bought these exact links. So this is not really a feature, but I wanted to throw this in there as well. So yeah, that's it. That's the full-on tutorial. Any questions you have, reach out to the support. We try to reply 24/7. If you need more detailed info on any of these features I went over in this hour-long tutorial, go here to the help docs, or again, if you want more one-on-one support, just open up support and ask anything you want. That's it. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. Any questions, let me know, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.